Hello, friends. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday. Let's see here. This is Sonia coming to you live from the state of Minnesota. The sun is shining. It's like 40 degrees outside. It is absolutely fabulous. So, we are live all over the place on this glorious Monday. We are on Facebook and a whole bunch of different places. We are live on LinkedIn. I have not been on live on LinkedIn forever. I don't know why. I just haven't, but nonetheless, hey, LinkedIn, I'm back. And YouTube and all the places. And I am using StreamYard, so it's a platform that allows me to be live in a lot of different places. The only drawback is I don't always see the comments until the end, but I would love to know if you are here. So if you are watching live, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know what time you're watching this and what platform you are on so I can come and say hello to you. And if you're going to catch this on the replay, go ahead and drop a replay down in the comments because I'd like to say hello to you as well. So, a little bit about me and my background, and then we're going to dive into this really exciting topic. I am actually a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and certified diabetes educator, but also an anti aging expert and a business coach and mentor. So, if I can help you age in reverse, if I can help you find holistic health solutions to make you healthier, or if you are looking for a home based revenue stream that you can work 100% from your cell phone with clean, healthy, non toxic products, I'm your girl. So go ahead and drop a comment below or send me a message. I'd love to connect and have a conversation to see how we might be able to work together. So let's dive into this topic. I think this is a good one, especially for my lady friends over 40. Guys, you can listen into, but I speak primarily to women over 40. So if that is you, drop your age in the comments. Let's talk a little bit about some of the real things that women over the age of 40 struggle with. And one of them I personally experienced and am no longer experiencing myself. And that is what we're talking about today. So, 6 reasons why your hair, this beautiful crown on top of your head, might be thinning or falling out. So, let's dive into it. And this actually came because I made a reel and a TikTok on this very topic and it blew up. And so I thought to myself, how much can you really say in 90 seconds on a reel? So I thought, well, let's take this same topic and make it into a live video. So here we are. Do me one more favor. If you have never watched my videos on StreamYard before, right now, all I see people commenting, it says Facebook user. So if you look at the caption of this video, it says that there's a little link that you can click and grant StreamYard access so that I can see who you are. Otherwise, you just show up as Facebook user. And that's okay too. I'll be able to see you later, but it's nice to know who's here. All right, so let's dive into it. So I'm going to save the most obvious one for first. Being a dietitian, of course, you guys are going to hear me talk about food. So, number one reason why your hair could be thinning or falling out is because you are making poor food choices. Nutrients that support hair growth, that support collagen production, vitamins, minerals, all of the things we'll call micronutrients are super important. So, making sure that your diet is filled with colorful foods, that you're not always eating the same thing every day, but you have a lot of variety in your food choices because nutrients are what drives everything. But along with nutrients, we obviously need to make sure that the body is absorbing those nutrients. And so that's perhaps another conversation because gut health is a big part of this as well too, in the sense that if your body isn't absorbing the nutrients or supplements you're taking, well, your hair isn't going to be affected by it. Okay, so number one on the list is you're not making good enough food choices. You're not choosing colorful foods. You're maybe too low carb or you've been keto for a long time. You've essentially, as a coach used to say to me, sometimes people just eliminate too many food groups. So if food groups have gone missing from your diet, then there could be a chance that you start to see thinning hair or even hair that is falling out. Okay, so that's number one on the list. kind of related to number one. Number two is you've had a lot of weight loss. So congrats if that's you and you've lost a ton of weight. There obviously are healthier means of doing it and means that are not so healthy, but nonetheless, if you've lost a lot of weight, especially if you have lost it rapidly, you definitely probably are missing some key nutrients in your diet that do support healthy hair. So it's very common if you lose a lot of pounds to lose some hair along with it. So a lot of times though, as your weight stabilizes, that begins to normalize, but nonetheless, it can remain a problem if the body is not well nourished. Okay, so that is number two on the list. Number three, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on a couple of these than others, but number three, this is a big one that affects women over 40. That is, your hormones are dysregulated. Your hormones are not where they need to be. So as we get into our 40s, we start heading toward perimenopause and then on into menopause and then postmenopause and all of that. So we see issues with not only the female hormones being out of balance, but also there's a higher percentage of women that develop hypothyroidism over the age of 40, also adrenal problems. I mean, so there's a lot of hormonal changes that are happening. So as I always tell people, when hormones are like dominoes, when one goes down, they all kind of start to fall. So making sure that you get your hormones checked on a regular basis. I literally do this test usually twice a year, but I recommend that women do it at least once a year, men too, but women especially. It's called the Dutch test. And it looks at all of your hormone metabolites, and it is literally very detailed. It shows you so much information about not only your female hormones or your male hormones, but also your stress hormones, even your levels of melatonin. So if you're not sleeping, it could be because you have low melatonin levels. That's for a whole nother conversation. But nonetheless, it explains a lot, because when your hormones are dysregulated, it is a big reason. If you just Google hypothyroidism, for example, one of the top symptoms that people go to the doctor for and say, test my thyroid, is their hair starts falling out in clumps often, or it starts thinning, or their eyebrows start thinning. But remember, eyebrows are hair too. It's just in a different spot. So your hormones could be dysregulated. Okay. So definitely get your hormones checked if you are over the age of 40. You can certainly do blood tests. I love the Dutch test though, because it captures a lot more information. And it's something that looks at metabolites. So that's further upstream versus just doing a blood test that is like one moment in time. So I definitely recommend the Dutch test to any woman who is wanting to check on what's going on with her hormones. Okay, so that was number three. Number four, who in the world is not stressed out? So stress is a big one. When your body is under a lot of stress, everything goes sideways. So stress is also related to hormone imbalance. So if you're stressed out, and most people are stressed out these days for various reasons, it's just the world we live in, but are you taking the time to actually manage your stress? Do you meditate? Do you exercise? Do you do brain retraining exercises that gets your body out of that sort of fight or flight that a lot of us get stuck in when we're stressed out? We're not being chased by a tiger 24/7, but if we're constantly being stressed, it just puts the whole body, the whole system internally, our body, in complete disarray. And so that behavior of not dealing with your stress tilts your hormones in the wrong direction, which causes that cascade of events, and your hair starts falling out. Okay, so definitely manage your stress, guys. Like, there's so many ways to manage your stress. I wish I could wave a magic wand and make them all go away. Hey, Kathy, how are you? But I can't make your stress go away, unfortunately. I can encourage you to do some things to deal with your stress and use supplements that have adaptogens. And there's a lot of different, mushroom supplements and other things that you can use that help your body to fight through stress. Adaptogens are herbs that help your body adapt to stress. So stress could be physical, stress could be emotional. Most times it's both. So making sure that you get in check with taking care of your stress levels is going to make a big difference in the health of your hair. And I do promise you that If you do these things over time, it'll make a difference in your hair. It's not something that's going to change overnight. You guys, a couple of years ago, my hair was literally thinning. I had bald spots, like just out of nowhere, that were coming in. And I'll get to the reasons behind that momentarily. But it was like, what on earth is going on with my hair? I take really good care of myself. I eat really healthy. I do things to watch my stress levels. However, I, in the last couple of years, have lost both my mom and my dad. So grief is a real thing. It is another stressor that, perhaps I hope nobody ever has to experience it in a close proximity like I did, but nonetheless, that was my reality. And so that put a lot of stress on me. And I had to really sort of almost, which is why I haven't been live as much lately, I had to take some time to work on myself. And so I will always tell you, work on yourself first. It's the most important thing you'll ever do. But stress is a big deal. There's a reason they call it the silent killer. But for your hair, it is a big killer. So manage your stress, look at your hormones, what's going on with your diet, look at how you're losing weight. Is it in a healthy way or an unhealthy way? Are you experiencing rapid weight loss? Because if you are, I guarantee your hair is going to fall out. Or if you've had weight loss surgery, that's very common. I used to work with a lot of bariatric clients once upon a time before I had my own business. And it was like one of the main things that they struggled with was just clumps of hair falling out. So big one. Okay, number 5 on the list is something that I have personally struggled with. So this is something that I'm starting to talk about more and more, but it was like something inside of me that was happening that I didn't want to talk about until I had proof that I was across on the other side and that there were ways to heal from this. And that is toxicity, environmental toxicity. And so I don't care who you are, where you live, what you do, what you eat. We live in a world that is extremely toxic, whether it's the air you're breathing outside, the food you're eating, the chemicals we're exposed to, the personal care products we use, VOCs, and this one was a big one for me. We found toxic mold in our home. So I was exposed to toxic mold for I don't even know how long, but I had this low level of not feeling well for many years, which aggravated my Epstein-Barr virus that I have. And I just, I was able to soldier through the day, but I never really felt great. It's like people look at you and they say, well, you look normal. You look great, right? You sound normal. But the reality is you're not normal. It is not normal to have toxic mold in your house. People normalize mold, and there are normal molds outside, of course. That's the molds that might make you sneeze a little bit. But I'm talking about the stuff that hides in your home. In our house, it was hidden in the attic. Nobody goes into the attic, right? So word to the wise, please check your attic and keep an eye on mold in your house. Now, it's not an issue for everyone, and I don't mean to turn this into a live about mold, but I wanted to set the table for what happens when the body becomes extremely toxic. So mold produces toxins, and about 25% of people, I'm one of those 25, have a genetic predisposition to not being able to clear or detox biotoxins. And certain types of molds, toxigenic ones to be exact, and there's a lot of different ones, produce toxins called mycotoxins that are toxic to the body from head to toe in many different ways. They are toxic to the body, to the hormonal system, which is a big reason why I started losing so much hair. My hair was thinning. My hair now, guys, is like ridiculously full of volume. And I'll get to what I've been doing here momentarily. But there was a time over the last couple of years where my hair was thinning and falling out, and I had no idea that I was living in mold. So obviously, mold is just one of them, but you could be exposed to other chemicals, VOCs, glyphosate. You could have, other just things in your house that are disrupting your system, disrupting your hormones, maybe your cleaning products that you're using, or the pans that you're frying your meat in, or the list goes on. The things that are allowed to happen, especially in the United States, and North America in general, the things that are allowed to pass for quote legal here are unacceptable. I digress. Anyway, I could rant about that all day long. But having toxic mold exposure wreaked havoc on my hair. So, good thing I love hats and I collect them, because there was a while where I was like, I don't even want my hair to be exposed because it just had started thinning so much. It was like, gosh, what is like I felt like a shell of myself, because women were, were conditioned to live under this, beautiful crown of our hair. And not that you have to be perfect, but you want to be healthy. And I wasn't feeling healthy. So toxins, that's a big one. So watch what's in your food. Obviously you cannot change what's in the air, unfortunately. I wish I had control over that. Yes, you can move, and some places are better than others. But whether you live in the country or you live in the city, you're going to be exposed to some form of toxins. In my case, it was in the house and you couldn't even see it. And, be careful with the things that you put on your body, the food that you eat. Are you buying organic? So, all of these things have the potential to disrupt your hormones so that, guess what? Your hair starts falling out. Okay, I digress. I could go on and on and on about environmental toxicity, and maybe we'll do a live just on that. But I will tell you that is a big one for female and male, but especially female hair loss. Okay, the last one I want to talk about today. I mean, there are more certainly, but I'd keep you guys live here for like 3 hours. And the last one I want to talk about today is something that most people don't think about until they start to see the signs. But over the age of 40, really over the age of 30, 35. So, in other words, it's a progression of change. We start to lose the most abundant protein in our body. If you guys know what that number one most abundant protein in the body, the glue that keeps us together, including our hair, skin, and nails, if you know what that protein is, drop it in the comments. I want to test your knowledge. So, a little trivia for you here today. But what I'm speaking of is collagen. So we begin to lose not only collagen, but hyaluronic acid, which is also responsible for hydration. But we begin to lose, and I'm going to speak in terms of collagen here for a second, an excessive amount of collagen over the years. And the further you cross the 40 line, the worse it gets. As you get into perimenopause, menopause, estrogen drives collagen production. Or there's a direct relationship there between collagen production. So as your estrogen levels decline, guess what? So does your collagen production. And if your estrogen levels are going like this during perimenopause, guess what? Your collagen levels are doing the same thing. Everything is declining. The same thing with hyaluronic acid, which is what is responsible for hydration. So the two work hand in hand together. But one of the things that people see when they begin to use a supplemental collagen product is all of a sudden they start seeing new hair growth. And I don't know if you can see mine here, but I have a lot of like, I don't even know, like you can't see very well on the camera, but baby hairs here around my face, because that's where I was seeing a lot of thinning. I can tell like the top of my head was thinning. You could see my scalp so clearly. That is not the case anymore. But I have spent the last 3 years not only cleaning up my environment, but getting my hormones back into balance and also replenishing what's gone missing with the collagen and hyaluronic acid. So if you are not using a collagen supplement, and they are not all created equal, that's for another conversation. You want to make sure that collagen is liquid, that it is in a small enough form, hydrolyzed, so that your body can absorb it, that it's combined with hyaluronic acid, especially, but also bonus if it also has chondroitin sulfate in it. All of those three are very, very therapeutic for anti-aging. But when it comes to hair, collagen and hyaluronic acid, so very key. And of course, biotin as well. But if you can work on your diet, biotin is something that you can get through food. And that being said, with collagen, so I get questions all the time, shouldn't I just eat more collagen rich foods? And yes, that can be helpful, but the reality is you're probably not going to stand over the stove and cook pot after pot after pot of bone broth and drink it because it tastes disgusting. I mean, there are people that are super creative. Every time I've made it, it's like gagging. But when I make soup or things like that, I do use bone broth. I also make gelatin treats that are made with grass-fed gelatin. But again, these are not things that you do every single day. And that also, I have found anything that has to be absorbed through the digestive tract, which is why I don't believe in powdered collagen. It has a very low absorption rate, but anything that has to run through the digestive tract, there's less absorption than something that's in a liquid form that starts absorbing right away within your mouth. Because if you didn't know this, I'm going to tell you now another piece of trivia. Digestion and absorption actually begins in the mouth. It's not in your gut, it's in your mouth. So using a liquid form can really make all the difference in the world. So if you have not had results with collagen, I used powdered collagen for 5 years. If you guys know me and have seen any before and after pictures, I had no results from powdered collagen. 5 years, every possible kind you can imagine. People are like, well, did you use? I'm like, yes, I used. Most of these brands, unfortunately, they're all over the TV, they're in the Walmarts, they're all over the place, and they're cheap. And so people buy them and then they don't work. And so, yes, other supplements may cost a little bit more, but if it's not working, that's the most expensive supplement you could buy, right? You're just pouring money down the drain, which was my case for 5 years. That being said, okay, I could rabbit trail and talk about collagen all day long, but when I added collagen and hyaluronic acid in a liquid form into my daily regimen, I use it twice a day, tablespoon twice a day, total game changer. Now, when I go to the hair salon, it drives my hairstylist nuts because I have all these like little baby hairs and she's trying to color them and, cut and do all the things that she has to do. And she's like, all these baby hairs. But I digress. I'd rather have baby hairs everywhere than have my hair falling out. So I guess what I'm here to tell you is there can be a lot of reasons why your hair could be thinning or balding. It may be one of the things on this list. It may have nothing to do with these. But certainly, if that is a sign or symptom that is affecting you, there are reasons behind it. It's not just because your hair decides one day to fall out. So definitely connect with a dietitian, with a functional medicine physician, with a healthcare provider who can take a deeper look at what's going on. Maybe you just need some supplements. Maybe there are things that are missing in your diet that if you just fill in the gaps or you just improve your diet a little bit, that's all it takes. And if that's you, congratulations. That was not me. I needed to improve a lot of things, and it wasn't my diet. My diet has always been very good. I've always eaten really good, healthy, clean food. And I've never been one for fad diets. So, like, anytime I set out to lose weight, it is never some sort of crazy fast weight loss journey. But I use things that help to support healthy weight loss, but also other things in my body, such as my hair, skin, and nails. So collagen actually can be very therapeutic for weight loss as well, too. So the bottom line is there could be a lot of reasons behind it, but I wanted to dive into this topic a little bit more because it's a real thing that women, especially over the age of 40, struggle with. Like, if you have not struggled with it, just call yourself lucky. Maybe it just hasn't happened yet. But so think about these things. If there's anything that's affecting you, certainly feel free to reach out if you have questions or drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to connect with you and share a little bit more information about some of the things that have helped me. But if you guys found this live video helpful, go ahead and just share it. We're live in public places, so you can share this anywhere that you think that it might help other people, because if something helps me, I'm here to help other people. It's like I always say, if there's something that is a mess in my life, I'm here to clean up the mess, but also to take that mess and turn it into a message, because that is how we change the world, one body at a time. And last but not least, if you guys like this type of content, I do have a group here on Facebook. And if you're watching elsewhere, go ahead and just drop group and I'll make sure to get you the link, even if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever, so that you can come on over and join our Facebook group where we talk a little bit more in detail about health-related topics. But we'd love to have you. So I hope this was helpful information, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. You guys have a great Monday, and thanks so much for watching. Take care, everyone.